basic Linux commands. In the last session, we discussed about Vim editor shortcuts. Let me go there. Okay. So we discussed about tar and then Vim editor. Vim is advanced to VI editor, right? Then we have another command here called cat command. Let me go to some file. Cat is very simple. If you want to list the content of a file, we use cat form.xml. So this is the content of the file. It's very simple. Nothing great about it. Okay. That's about cat. Then we have another important command called grep command. So when we are working in real time, a lot of times we will be, in situations where we'll be in situations to search, for some words. Say, for example, you have a large file, right? You have a large file. You want to search if a particular word is present in that particular file or not. How do you do it? Say, for example, I have some log file. I want to check if the word called error is present in that particular file or not. So how do you check it? So assume that this is 10,000 lines of file, and searching for that word is very difficult, correct? So in that case, we use grep. Using grep, you can search for a word. For example, assume that, so I'm just writing something like this. You have error somewhere here. Say here you have capital E R R O R. I'm just taking some example. And say you have ERR. Okay, some errors you have in a file, right? So if you want to search for the word called error, how do you search? That's where we use grep command. Grep, what you want to search? Say error, where you want to search? File, simple. See this. So it is by default finding the exact match. Okay, it's a case sensitive. We have given capital E, right? Capital E R R O R. So if you see the file, pom.xml file, we have small letters and then we have capital letters also, but it is finding exact word that you are giving. But sometimes we don't know whether it's a capital E or all caps or all small or mix of caps, small and things like that, right? We don't know. So I want to find all the words, small, caps, mix and everything. What do you do? So every command has a default behavior, right? So grep by default searches the exact word that you are giving, exact word. So if you want to ignore the case, right, you have to convey that to the command using options, correct? So there is one option here called I. I means ignore case. I means what? Ignore case. It will ignore the case and it will, search for the word. See, small, caps, everything is giving. Okay. So it's giving everything. So with respect to, when we use grep, right, usually we use I most of the times. Okay. Say, for example, I also want to print the line number. I also want to print the line number. So if you want to print the line number, we use another option called N. N for number. Remember that way. N. See, 11th line, 17th, and then 25th. That's how you search for a word in a file, ignoring the keys and printing the line number. Clear with these two options? Okay, so this is the exact match, right? Say, for example, let's go with this, okay? Exact match. Sometimes you may want to print everything where this word is not present. Reverse search, correct. Search means it is exactly searching for the word. So reverse search means print all the lines where this word is not present. Print the line which has this particular word, print all the lines which doesn't have this. Reverse search. In that case, there is an option here called -v. -v. We call this as invert search. Invert, that means reverse. Invert search. V, invert, INV, invert. Remember that way. Okay. -v is for invert search. See this? So it is listing everything except the line where this word is not present. See, that error is not there. Here, you can also combine this with other options. For example, ignore case, and then print line numbers also. I for ignore case, V for invert search, N for line numbers. So if you see here, so it is printing all the lines where this particular all the lines except the line which has this word called error. So these are the three options we use with respect to grep in real time usually. Clear with this? Any questions here on this? Any questions? Okay, let's move on. Then there is another helpful command here called SCD, or sometimes people call it as SED or SCD. Using SCD, you can search for, using SCD, you can find and replace a string. You can find and replace a string in a file. So take the same file, okay? So vim form.xml. Assume that I want to search for a word called properties. Replace that with something else in a file. How do you do that? That's where we use SCD command. Okay. Set. Yes means substitute. // That's a boundary. Okay. First word. Properties, for example. Properties. Replace that with, say, caps, for example. So all these commands are helpful when we work in real time. You have some file, for example, you have hundreds of occurrences of some word. You want to find a word and then replace that with something else, right? So finding and replacing one by one is not very easy, right? In that case, this is very much helpful for us. And then file name. File name is form.xml. So find this word, replace that with this. Enter. See, small properties is replaced with caps, but it is giving you the resultant. I mean, it will give you the result file. Sorry, it will give you the result on the console. What is my requirement? I want to find and replace the string directly in the file. I don't want the result right on the screen. No. In that case, what do you do? By default, SCD prints the result on the screen. But I want to make the change happen. I want to have the change in the file itself. In that case, you have to tell SCD using some command, that using some option. That option is -i. I means in place. Don't give me the content on the screen. Instead, go to the file and then make the change directly in place. You can remember in that way. See here, if you open the file now, say the change is present. Small properties is changed to caps. So these are all the popular interview questions, SAD, grep, and there are, of course, very a few basic commands, but SCD grep are considered kind of the advanced commands. Clear with this? SCD, yes means substitute. word 1, new word 2, and then the file name. Clear with this? Any questions you have? Okay. So another simple command we have called head. For example, I have a file. Okay. I have a file. I want to see only 10 lines from the top. I want to print, I want to list only 10 lines from the top. In that case, we use head. Head by default prints 10 lines from the top. Head. By default, it will print 10 lines. If you want to print only, say, 2 lines, for example, you can do that as well. So 3 lines, for example, just say -3. It will print 3 lines. 1, 2, the blank line, and then 3. I want to print only 2 lines. 2, 1, and then 2. So by default, head prints 10 lines. If you want to print a specific number of lines, then you can give that with hyphen. Simple, right? Similar to this, there is another command called tail. Head, tail. Head prints from head, from top. Tail prints 10 lines by default from the bottom of the file. Similar to head, if you want to print only a specific number of lines, you can give that as an option to tail also. Tail -2. See this? From the bottom, it is printing 2 lines, first and then second line, 2 lines. Or you can say 3, for example, 3 lines. Clear with this head and tail command? Head and then tail.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So for example, I have a file. Okay. I want to print 10th line exactly, for example. I want to print 10th line exactly. Or I want to print 20th line exactly. How do you print? There are different ways to do it, but since we know head and tail, can somebody tell me how do you print a particular line using head and tail only?
Using pipe
Okay.
operator.
Using head and tail, I want you to print a particular line. Can you tell me the command? Say 10th
We
line.
can use pipe operator.
Tell me the complete command. Okay, see this. See what I'm doing, okay? Head, form.xml file. What this will do? This will print 10 lines, right? Okay, let's say, for example, I want to print 8th line, okay? How do you print 8 lines? -8. Here, this is the 8th line, right? This is 8th line. Now, I want to print only exactly 8th line, not everything. See what I'm doing? I'm using something called pipe here, okay? The vertical line is called as pipe symbol in Linux, pipe symbol. So which in my keyboard, it is below delete key or backspace. What is this called? Pipe symbol. So what this will do? Pipe will take the output of a command and it will pass as an input to another command. In other words, if you want to combine 2 commands in Linux, we use pipe symbol. See what I'm doing? I have this output, right? Think like this. The moment you use pipe, okay, this command output is stored in the pipe. Remember that way, okay? So what is the output of this command? This one, right? So all these 8 lines are inside this pipe now. Remember that way. Now what this pipe will do? Pipe has the output, right? 8 lines. It can pass that output to some other command. For example, I'm passing that to tail command. Tail -1. What tail -1 will do? It will print given number of lines from the bottom, correct? Clear? So I have a command. This is the output of this command. So this output will come here. here. That output will come here. Tail -1, and then you have all these lines here. So tail -1, you can give a file, or you can give some content also. Okay. Tile -1 file name you can give, or you can give some content also directly. So what tile is doing? Tile -1, and then you have got this 8 lines. Right? Who is passing these 8 lines here? This pipe symbol. So tile -1 and then 8 lines, right? So tile -1 8 lines is it will print given number of lines from the bottom, right? That means it will print this. Since you want this. Assume that you want to print 10th line. Exactly 10th line. What do you do? Print 10 lines from the head. From that output, print only first line from the bottom. So this is your 10th line. So my intention here is to explain this pipe symbol. Of course, we'll be using this pipe symbol a lot, multiple times. You will understand about this more later. So likewise, you can combine any number of commands. Clear with this? Any questions you have about pipe?
So in short, how do you define pipe symbol, sir?
So pipe symbol in Linux, you can say, pipe takes the output of a command and passes that as input to another command. You can explain that way. That's what it is doing, right? Pipe is taking output of a command and passes that as an input to another command. So here it is taking the output of head command, passing that as an input to tail command.
Okay. So the head -8 means it's taking the last for the first 8 lines.
It is taking
From
all
there,
the 8 lines.
yeah.
Think this.
And then when you give tail -1, it is picking that last.
Yeah. So this highlighted output comes here.
Yeah, correct. Okay.
8 lines. Who is passing that? Pipe symbol.
Pipe symbol.
Tile -1 is acting on those 8 lines. So it will give first line.
Okay.
From the bottom.
From that 8 lines, it is taking that 1 line.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's about head, tail, and then a pipe symbol. AW is also very important. You just try to explore it on your own. Then you have cut command. So if you want to, you have a line, say for example, you have some line. You want to cut that line based on some delimiter. You want to cut the line. You want to split the line based on some delimiter. For example, I have some sentence. I want to split that sentence based on a delimiter called, let's say, space. And then print maybe the first word or second word or things like that. In that case, cut is very helpful for us. Not clear? See this? Assume that I have some file, okay? Say, let me create a file. Vim records.txt, something like this. For example, I have name, okay? And grade, for example. And then title, something like that. Harry, okay. Grade say 1, for example. Title developer. Okay. Sally 2 developer, or say system admin, something like that. Sham 3, for example, DevOps, something like this. If you see, there is some consistency here, correct? Name, this is the name. These are the names. Grade, and there is a, what is the subtitle here? My space. There's a space here. So there is a space, there's a space, and things like that. Assume that I want to print only the first column. Column 1, column 2, column 3. I want to print only the first column. That means all names. I want to print only the name. First column, second column, third column, or you can call it as field 1, field 2, field 3. Sometimes when we are working in real time, we'll be having some structured, records like this, files. And you may want to print only the first column or second column or third column. So in that case, how do you print? It's a popular interview question. I have a file. In the file, say for example, I have IP address and then username and password. I want to print only IP addresses. I want to print only the usernames, only passwords. How do you do that? Something like that. Here I'm just taking name, grade, title. So how do you do that? See this? That's where we can use cut. Cut. Cut means cut the string. Take the literal meaning of it. Split the string or cut the string. Okay, I will cut the sentence based on what? Hyphen D, delimiter. Based on the delimiter called space. See this? Space. Cut hyphen D, space. And file name, okay? Records.txt. And then give me field 1. Field 1 is column 1. See this? It is giving you only the first column, name. You have file like this, right? It is giving you only the first column. So what is the separator we are using here? Delimiter, space. I want to print only the second column. Field 2. See? Field 3 and so on. Field. ls-ltr. Assume that I want to print only the, say first column. Okay. What is the separator we have? Space, right? So ls-ltr. I'm passing this output. See the uses of grep now. I don't have file. If you have file, you can give the file. If you have the file, you can give the file. But I don't have the file now. I have some output. So ls-ltr. See, I'm passing that output using pipe symbol to whom? Cut command. Cut hyphen D. Based on the space, give me hyphen feed 1. Cut command has two syntaxes. Cut hyphen D, delimiter, field 1. You can give the file name here. You can give the file name or you can give some data. Like head and tail with pipe. So we have given head output to the tail command, right? So a lot of commands work like this. Cut. You can give the file name, or sometimes you'll be having data coming from other commands. In that case, pipe is very helpful for us. So I have some data, okay, some output. I want to do something on this particular data. In that case, you can using pipe, you can pass that. So pipe stores that particular output and then it gives that data to another command. So cut hyphen D hyphen F, see, it is giving you only the first line. So in those kind of scenarios, pipe is very helpful. Don't worry. You're a beginner now, right? You just, started with Linux commands. It will come with the experience, after working on Linux for 1-2 months, you'll be able to, combine multiple commands like this and then do something. So a few things come with the, experience. Don't worry. For now, try to, remember the commands, try to understand the concept first. Applying the concept, you'll get it slowly. Don't worry. So if you want to cut a particular line or sentence based on some delimiter, use cut command. Clear with this? Any questions you have?
Sir, this which determines the first column here, F1?
F1 means first column, first field.
First column, right?
Column, you can call it as a column or you can call it as a field.
Okay, so if I put F2, it would be picking the second column, you can say.
Yeah, correct. So we are splitting this based on the space, right? So if you split this particular line based on the space, this will become the first token, second token, third token. Token or word? Say for example, I have data something like this. Assume that these things are separated with colon. Now, if I want to print only the first column, what delimiter I should use here? So
F1. No?
I want you to print only the first one. Okay, first column. And separator, what separator you use? Earlier it was separated by space, right? Now it is separated by colon. So you have to cut that particular line based on the colon. If you split this particular line based on the colon, then this will become the 1, 2nd, 3rd, and so on, right? So the delimiter can be anything. In this case, it is something like this. I cannot use space now here, right? So there is space, there is no space, so it is just printing everything. So now, if I want to print the field one, I'll give the delimiter as colon. That means, okay, it is separating, okay, based on the colon. 1, 2, 3. Now we'll leave it. So you need to, but the data should be structured. Structured in the sense, it should have some consistency, right? All the lines should have something common. So here it is colon, so I'm separating that line based on the colon. If you want to field 2, you can give field 2. It will print field 2. Satish? Clear?
Yes, sir. Yeah, clear.
Others, any questions? Okay. That's about the cut command. Diff is very simple. Okay. Say you have 2 files. Okay. You have 2 files. One second. You and your friend both are working. Okay. You and your friend both have the same file, a.txt, a.txt. Okay, a.sh, some shell script. Okay, some script, say for example, some program or some text file or whatever. So in your mission, it is working fine. In your friend's mission, you think you both have the same file. In your friend mission, things are working fine, but in your mission, things are not working. In that case, what do you do? You may want to compare these two, right? If you compare these two, you'll understand why it is working in your mission and then why it is not working in your friend's mission. There may be some changes, right? If you want to see the differences, what do you do? Diff command. Diff file 1, file 2. So it will give you the content difference between the 2 files. So anytime if you face that situation, you can use diff command. So for example, I'll just copy the same file, duplicate it, copy, because I want to have 2 files, okay? Pom.xml and then say one pom.xml. I have 2 files. Pom.xml file and then one pom.xml. Now, is there any difference now? No, right? One pom, say pom.xml file, and then one pom.xml file. There is no difference because both are same files. Let's make some change here. Vim, assume that there is some change. I'll just add something. Okay. That is the change you have here, correct? Now, if you want to see the difference between these 2 files, see it says this one greater than means this one. And now the right one, okay? This particular file has this content extra. That's how you can see the difference between 2 files, content difference between 2 files. There is another better command here called vimdiff. So this will open the files graphically and then show you the diff. See here, this is the file one, okay? Pom.xml file. Right side you have one pom.xml. See, everything is same. This is the extra content you have in this second file, right? So it is highlighting it with the blue color. That means this is extra here. And here there is nothing. And here you have something. And if you want to quit 2 files, okay, QA, quit all, colon, QA, quit all the files. So diff will just print the difference. But if you want to see the difference graphically, you can use vim diff. Clear with this? Any questions? These are all very, very simple commands. There is another important command here called find command. Sorry. So see this. Assume that you're working. You want to, search for a file. You want to find a file. You know that, there is a file, but where that file is, you don't know the path. So how many times, you would have searched in your Windows for some file, correct? You would have searched, right? Say, if you want to search graphically, this is how we can search. Open the file browser like this. In Windows also you do the same thing, right? Go here, search box. Say I want to find a file like, say pom.xml. See, it is giving you. There is one pom.xml file here and a source, projects here. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 files here. It is giving you the location also here. Source gamut card 2, source projects gamut card 2, projects, and so on. That's how you can search for a file graphically. But we won't be having machines in front of us, right? So all that we have is what? A terminal. So if you want to search for a file, right, like this from the terminal, what do? What is that command we use? We need to use some command, right? So what command we use for searching a file or directory? It is a find command. Okay, to search for a file or directory in a machine, we use a command called find. Clear with it? Okay, see this. Assume that I'm here. Okay, I want to search for a file here. I want to find a file. What's the command we use? Find. Find. In which directory you want to find? That's the syntax. Okay, I want to find inside this parallels directory. Find by default works recursively. Find by default works recursively, meaning it will search for a file in this particular directory and then all subdirectories. By default, it will go to the directory. What is the directory here? Our folder, parallels. Inside the parallel place, all subdirectories, parallels. So find where you want to find. I want to find a file based on its name. And what is the file name? pom.xml. That's the syntax. Find. If you remember the syntax, then remembering the command becomes very easy for you. Okay. Find in which directory you want to find. And you want to find a file based on its name. There are different ways to find a file. I want to find a file based on its modified time. I want to find a file based on its size, for example. So there are different ways to find a file. So I want to find a file based on its name. That's my requirement. Find where you want to find, and then I want to find this particular file based on its name. See this? See how many files you have. Home parallels source gamut card 2. There's a pom.xml file here, here, and so on. See, it is giving you all files locations. That's how you can search for a file. Clear with this? Any questions you have about finding a file? Say, for example, I want to find a directory. I want to find a directory. In that case, you have to add this, okay? Hyphen type D. You want to search for a directory called source. Very simple. See this. Using find, you can find a directory or file, correct? Using find, I can find a directory or I can find a file. I have given something here, right? So by default, it will think this as a file only. Find command by default thinks this as a file. What if I want to find a directory? I have to tell find command. By default, whatever you give here, it will treat that as a file. If I want to ask find command to search for a directory, then I have to tell it. What is that command? How do you tell it? Like this. I have to say -type D. If you don't give -type D, it will treat this as a file. It will treat that as a file. So if you want to tell find command that whatever I'm giving here is a directory, or I want to search for a directory, you have to give -type D. Very simple. Remember this. If you are searching for a file, don't give this. If you are searching for a directory, just add type D. Say for example, I don't give this. What will happen? Tell me. If I don't give this, what will happen? Can someone tell me? That source is considered as a file or directory? It will treat that as a file. Okay. It is giving you this because, again, in Linux, file, directory, both are called as a files. Don't get confused. Leave that concept for now. Okay, that's the reason it is listing, even though you don't give -type, because it will treat that as a file directory. Both are files in Linux. Leave that. If you want to just note it down and then spend some time later. Remember this. If you are searching for a directory, use -type D. If you're searching for a file, don't give this. Just remember that. That's how you can find a file in Linux. File or directory. Assume that. Okay, so that's how you find, right? Find where you want to find, correct? Where you want to find. See, I'm already here, right? I'm already here. So instead of giving home parallels, you know what I can do? I can just give dot also. Dot means what? Can somebody tell me? In
Current
Linux, dot,
directory.
current directory.
position, yes.
So you can type like this, home parallels, or you can just give dot. Dot means what? Home parallels. That's the current directory. That's where I'm sitting currently, correct? So instead of typing, if you are, if you want to see, you are in some directory, you want that directory path. Don't type it again. Just say dot if you want the same thing. Okay. I'm here in home parallels, and then I'm just giving dot. Dot is also fine. Find dot hyphen name pom.html. These many pom.html files you have. Clear with this find command? Any questions here so far? Okay. Can somebody tell me the difference between find and grep command? People very often get confused between these two. What is the difference between find and grep?
Find is used to search a file, and grep is used to search the data inside a file.
Correct. Find is for finding a file or directory, whereas grep is for finding a word, a string in a file. If you want to search for a word, use grep command. If you want to search for a file or directory, use find command. That is the difference. Sudo. Before sudo, let me explain apt-get command. So for example, you want to install something in your Ubuntu Linux. How do you install? What is the command we use to install something in Ubuntu? This is my Ubuntu. Okay. I want to search, I want to install something in this Ubuntu. What command we use if you want to install something?
apt-get.
Sudo apt install.
Okay. See this, everybody? If you want to install something in Ubuntu, we use a command called apt. apt or apt-get? apt-get command. apt-get install, apt-get install, and then you have to give the package name here, whatever you want to install. Assume that I want to install Git. I just give Git. I want to install Maven. I give Maven. I want to install JDK, Java. For JDK, it is not just JDK, no, right? There will be, for each and every tool or a software, there will be some package name. You have to give that exact package name here. For JDK, it is like this: open JDK -8 JDK, something like this. So you have to find out that package name from Google and then you have to give. So for Git, it is Git. For Maven, it is Maven. For Java, it is open JDK -8 JDK. So if you Google, on their official websites, there'll be package name. So just whatever package they ask you, you have to give that package name here. apt-get install, and then package name or software that you want to install. That's how you install it. Okay. Fine. So how this command works? The moment you type this command in your Ubuntu Linux, you know what will happen? This particular apt-get command, this is called as a package management tool. Package management tool. Package means installer. Management, in this case, you can install a package, you can uninstall a package, you can update a package. So package management tool. How this command works? Assume that you type this command in your Ubuntu. Okay. Anything you want to install, you can use apt-get. Okay, and then package name differs. The moment you type apt-get install gate, you know what it will do? This particular using internet apt-get command by default goes to say Ubuntu package repositories. Means our Ubuntu download center. Think it as a mission somewhere in the world. So there, this Ubuntu core team will be having all installers. For example, there is an installer for Git, there is an installer for Maven, and so on. So where is this particular repository? Somewhere in the world. There is a mission, and then there they have all these packages. Ubuntu download center, or you can call it as Ubuntu package repository. Repository means a mission where you have something. Okay. So the moment you type apt-get install gate, apt-get command by default connects to this Ubuntu repository. One or there may be multiple repositories also. Okay. And then it will download the given package, Git, and then it will install it automatically. Download and then installation happens automatically. That's how apt-get command works. Assume that I have Git version 1 here. Okay. So when I type apt-get install gate, it will go to this Ubuntu repository. It will download the latest one, git-1, and then it installed it. Next day, there is another version here called 2. You want to upgrade. You want to upgrade your Git. If you type, apt-get install gate, it will not by default, take the latest one. No. So it says, okay, you have given Git and the Git is already installed, and then it will not, by default, take the latest. If you want to take the latest, before apt-get install, you have to run another command called apt-get update. So if you type apt-get update, you know what happens? The moment, since you are asking apt-get command to update, to install updated package, right, the latest one, it will go to this particular repository to check if there are any latest one. What you have in your machine, what is there in the repository to check the latest one, and then it will install the latest one. That's how it works. What? 1 second, sorry. Okay, so very simple. If you want to install the latest one, run this command apt-get update, apt-get install something. So apt-get update will install the latest tool always. So usually as a practice, whenever we want to install something, before that we run apt-get update. Before we install something, we run apt-get update. So that will, basically help you to install the latest one. Okay, let's try to install something. Okay, say this apt-get install this. If you want to uninstall something, remove. Two things. If you want to install something, apt-get install. If you want to uninstall something, apt-get remove. I have Git installed in this machine. I'm removing it. Okay. See here. When I'm trying to remove, okay, or when I'm trying to install something, it says it is throwing one error saying permission denied. What is that error it is throwing? Permission denied. Why it is throwing that error? Permission denied error.
Not logged in as root.
Yeah. Correct. See everybody. Assume that you are installing something in your Windows. If you want to install something in Windows, you need to have administration permissions, correct? Similarly, in Linux also, if you want to install something, you need to have administration permissions. In Linux, we call that administration user as root user. In Linux, root is the superuser. Root is called as superuser or administrator. So if you want to install something, you need to be root or you need to have root permissions. So that's when it says permission denied. I logged in as a normal user, right? Parallels, or say for example, Harry. I logged in as Harry. I logged in as user Harry. It says, apt-get install git. You are installing this particular git as a normal user. You are installing that particular git as a normal user. Okay. And normal user cannot install something. That is the error it is going. So I need to get root permissions, correct? If you want to get root permissions, we use another command called sudo. Clear with this, everybody? So this is the command we have here, sudo. So in Linux, when you want to execute any command, sometimes you can execute some commands only as root users. Normal user cannot execute some commands for security reasons. In the sense, normal user may not know something, right? So that's when it says, you're a normal user, I don't allow you because you don't have knowledge. So usually it thinks that, people whoever have this root permission, root password, it thinks them as experts. They know everything. So it allows them because they are experts and they have the root permissions. They are super users. So normal users cannot do few operations because it thinks normal user as a normal user, not experts. What if it allows normal user to go and what if it allows normal user to execute some command and then that command say delete some operating system related stuff, the system will go unstable, right? So there's some security in place here. So remember, if you want to install something in Linux, you need to have root permissions. And if you want to get the root permissions, what is that command we use? Sudo. I'm not root. Take the literal meaning of it. I'm not root. I'm Parallels, but I want to act as a root user. Sudo. I want to become sudo. I have another name called say root, for example, sudo name. So I want to act as a sudo root. See here. So once you run this, it will ask you your password only, okay? Not root password. Gam something like this. See, now it is installing it. I want to uninstall it, say for example. I want to uninstall, remove. It is asking, do you want to remove? Do you want to continue? Yes or no? Why? I want to install it. I say apt get install. So it is installing Git. So what is sudo command? If you want to run some command as a root user, use sudo. Sudo by default will give you root permissions temporarily. Clear with sudo? Any questions you have about sudo and apt-get command? So before apt-get, you have to use sudo. That will run this command as root user. Likewise, you can install anything in Ubuntu. Okay, any command you can install. apt-get install. This will be different for different tools or softwares. Any questions so far? That's about sudo. Switch user, and then who am I? Assume that you want to switch as a root user. See, I logged in as parallels. I want to switch to root user. How do you switch? su root. If I have the root password, like this will work, okay? I don't have root password, say for example. I don't have root password, but I have permissions to log in as a root using my credentials itself. In that case, use sudo. What is sudo? Even though you don't know the root password, sudo is temporarily making you as root. So if I have the root password, I can go like this. Su root. It is asking for the root password, but I don't have the root password. I want to act. I have permissions to act as a root user sometimes for some commands. So I give sudo su switch user as a root. See, I'm able to log in as root user. Since I typed the password already, it is not asking. Otherwise, it will ask you to type the password. Say, for example, sudo switch user root. It is asking my user's password only. Okay. So I logged in as root. So that's how normal user can switch to root using sudo command. So see, I don't know the root password. Okay. But I can temporarily, log in as a root user, sudo. If you know the root password, you can directly use su root also. You can say sudo su or just say sudo su also fine. If you don't give any username here, by default, it will take it as a root.
I have one question.
Yes.
Yeah, sir. For example, when I to a user not root, but there are certain root.
Can you repeat?
Okay, I have a user who is not a root user. Okay, just normal user. Okay, so I haven't given permission to install. So if you just log in and try to install something, he won't be able to install because he doesn't have the permission. Only the root user, right? Now, if that user simply uses sudo su and then type root and then start installing, then it is a security breach, right? So so how it is controlled? Got the point?
There is a lot of echo. Can you repeat, Satish? Since
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, I'm asking, for example, I have a user. Okay, so
Okay.
I haven't given permission to the user as a root. but I have other root user user logins as well. Okay. Now this user logged in and then just use the command sudo su and then type root and then started installing some application. Okay. So in that case, it is security breach, right? How it is controlled? You got the point, right? Question?
Yeah, that's a good question. Let me reframe the question so that everybody understands it. So everybody say this. I logged in as a normal user, correct? apt get install it. I logged in as a normal user, right? But I'm able to perform this particular command as a root user, correct? Then what is the point in having a root and normal user? See, if normal user can execute, right? If normal user can execute any command with sudo, then why root user? Everybody is I'm also root, right? No, correct. I'm able to execute this particular command as a root user. So I am using sudo. That means I'm also root. That's the question. So here by default, I can execute anything as root. But in real time, you'll be having different configurations. Okay. There'll be a team called system administration team. Those people will selectively give you, will selectively give you few commands. And those commands only you can execute as sudo, not all. For example, I'm working in some company, XYZ. I can run this particular apt get command as a sudo user. That means system administrator told me, saying, okay, in our company, anybody can run apt get command as root user using sudo. But not all commands. If a normal user can execute all commands as root user using sudo, then there is no difference, correct? So in real time, only few in real time, normal user will be having permissions to run some command as a root user only for few commands. Normal user can execute as a root user, not for all. That configuration will be there in real time. Satish, understand that?
Yes, sir.
This is my personal mission, right? By default, right? Ubuntu is giving you option to run any command as sudo. But in real time, system administration will be having this rule in place. For example, apt-get command, everybody uses apt-get. apt-get command, assume that you have 100 employees in that organization. Assume that system administrators don't let these 100 people to run apt-get command as a root user using sudo. Then what happens? If these 100 people want to install something, everybody has to go to system administrator. I want this installation. I want this installation. There'll be a big queue now. So people know, system administration team know that apt-get command, they know that, one second. I was expecting some order. One second. So system administration team know that everybody requires apt-get command, and they cannot install for 100 people because I want to install something in the midnight, things like that, right? So system administration team gives root permissions, temporary root permissions only for apt-get command for all these 100 people, not for all other commands. Clear with that? Okay, next question. How do they control that? How do they control it? Can somebody tell me? How do you control what commands can be executed as root user? What commands cannot be?
I think by disabling SU.
No. See, there will be a file here called etc sudoers. etc sudoers. I'm not a system administrator. I've never done that, but something like this they do. Okay. etc sudoers. They'll go here. See what I'm doing? Root user can execute all commands. Difficulty user also all. That means difficulty user is equal to root here, for example. Assume that I want to give this parallels user parallels, for example, say only for sudo. You have to give something like this, okay? Sudo, maybe some syntax like this. So parallels user, sorry, apt get here, okay? apt get. So something like this. There is some syntax here, okay? If I give apt get, parallels user can use sudo and become root user only for apt8 command, not for all other commands. Something like this they control. So who can use sudo and get root permissions is defined in this particular file. etc sudoers. Who can become sudo? Who can use sudo? Clear with that? That's how they control. Satish, any follow-up question on that?
Yes, sir. So can you go back to the previous command?
You want to see the file?
Yeah.
Sudo as file.
Apt get.
apt get, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So in this, see, is it sudo apt get install get? This is the only command, because I have seen even the sudo apt install get, it works. So what is the difference between apt get and apt install?
I've
Can
seen
try
apt. Yeah, I've seen apt is I've heard apt is advanced version to apt get.
Okay. Because I've seen apt works proper. I haven't
Correct.
seen any problem, so that's the reason I wanted to know.
Yeah, apt also works. Let me
Yeah.
quickly check. I always use apt get only.
Okay.
See, apt8 commands, both are package management tools used in Ubuntu, for example, for managing software packages, but they have differences. Okay. apt provides more user-friendly interface designed for end users. It combines the functionalities of several commands. apt-get. See, apt is advanced version to apt-get, you can say. So apt has the capabilities of apt-get plus apt cache and so on. Then they say apt command syntax is little easy, user-friendly is what they say.
That's why I was surprised. Like apt get, I never used. So,
okay, you always use apt. Okay. So I always used apt-get. So apt is advanced version to apt-get.
Thank you, sir.
So here instead of apt-get here, you can use apt also. Both are fine. Think like this. apt has apt-get capabilities plus something extra. Okay. So who am I will just print the user that you are that is logged in currently. Who am I? I logged in as balance user. This also should work. No space. Okay. If you want to know what user is currently logged in, you can use who am I. So that's all for today. I think we can complete this basic Linux tomorrow, and day after tomorrow, most probably we should be able to start with the actual demos. Let's see. That's all for today. Any questions you have for me?
I was getting some error while using that, while installing the git command that you said. So
What
I
error?
tried with that sudo. Yeah, but the error says, so I put that sudo app hyphen get install git. So it says dpkg was interrupted. You must manually run sudo dpkg.
What command you have given?
sudo apt -get install git. I mean apt get
Okay.
app.
Restart that mission and then try again with them. If it is not resolved, then I'll check tomorrow.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Getting a little late for another class. If you have any questions,
And
I'll take tomorrow.
when can we meet you in person, sir? Like in institute?
Mithun, doctor said it may take another 1 month for me to come out of these, joint pains and things like that. So I'm
Okay.
suffering from the post-dengue symptoms, joint pains,
Okay.
pains, and so for some, sometimes it is 1 month, 2 months. Sometimes, it'll take, 6 months also. So I'm in a recovery mode now.
Okay.
I'll let you know.
Fine,
Just,
fine, sir.
just give me the message.
Yeah, sure.
I'll update you.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe in another 2 weeks, maybe I'm hoping I'll be, able to walk properly. Let's
Okay. So mainly I just wanted to meet you and then just get some more information or a few things.
Sure, Mithun. Keep messaging me maybe for every 3 days or things like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Fine. Yeah. Thank you.